Today I am going to discuss about cultural practices of wheat. And before going to the real topic, I would like to place a few introductory remarks on this crop. Wheat, being major cereal crop of the country, plays a big role as far as food security of the country is concerned. Food and Agriculture Organization estimated that wheat ranks first in area and production in the world among all the cereals. South and East Asia contributed much towards increase in global wheat production. The countries like China, USA, India, Russia, Canada, European Union, and Australia accounts for at least 61% of the global wheat production. In India, wheat is an important Rabi cereal, contributing about 32% of the total food grain production. Since the introduction of high-yielding varieties in 1965, there has been a quantum jump in the production in wheat and its productivity. The report of Faustet and IGC showed India's production of wheat at 94 million metric tons, that is 13.53% during 2011-12, against the world's 694 million metric tons. The main wheat export destinations of India are Bangladesh, about 84.84%, UAE, about 30.84%, Pakistan, about 13.41%, Afghanistan, 11.47%. The productivity of wheat has increased from 2.6 tons per hectare in 2004-05 to 3.14 tons per hectare in 2011 and 12. The major increase in wheat productivity has been observed in states like Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, which are the main belt of wheat in the country. It has been estimated that realistic demand for food will be around 235 million tons in the year 2015 and 265 million tons in the year 2030. Let's now come to cultural practices of the crop. As we all know that cultural practices include from soil preparation till harvest. And let's have a look on the soil tillage and land preparation of this crop. The soil is plowed with moldboard plow after kharif crop harvest to bring to a fine till as the seed is very small. The field is deeply plowed followed by 2 to 3 times harrowing or 4 to 5 intercross plowing with country plow. Planking is done after plowing to retain moisture. The number of plowing depends upon the nature and type of weeds in the field. More number of plowing is required if there is perennial weeds. In rain-fed areas, the soil tillage is operated in the evening as evaporation of the soil moisture takes place if done during the hot day. Furrows are opened and kept to capture the dew during the night. Planking is done early morning to conserve the soil moisture. Wheat can be grown under different conservation tillage systems which are eco-friendly in nature as discussed below. No-till and strip-till. This involves planting crops directly into residue that either has not been tilled at all, which is called as no-till, or has been tilled only in narrow strips with the rest of the field left untilled. This is what we call strip till. The second one is ridge till. It is a practice of planting row crops on permanent ridges about 4 to 6 inches high. The previous crop's residue is cleared off ridge tops into adjacent furrows to make way for the new crop being planted on the ridges. Maintaining the ridge is essential and requires modified or specialized equipment. The third one is mulch till. It is any other reduced tillage system that leaves at least 1/3 of the soil surface covered with crop residue. The environmental benefit achieved from conservation tillages are: number one, it reduces soil erosion as much as 60% to 90%, depending on the conservation tillage method. All pieces of crop residue shield soil particles from rain and wind until new plants produce a protective canopy over the soil. It also improves soil and water quality by adding organic matter as crop residue decomposes. This creates an open soil structure that lets water in more easily and in reducing runoff. The next one is it conserves water by reducing evaporation at the soil surface. And it also conserves energy due to fewer tractor trips across the field. And conservation tillage also reduces potential air pollution from dust and diesel emissions. In conservation tillage, crop residue provides food and cover for wildlife. Nutrient management. Plants also need food like we human beings need food. Organic manure application in the soil helps in building a good soil structure besides increasing the water holding capacity of the soil. Though manure contains lesser amount of nutrients, still they help in creating favorable soil environment for microorganisms as soil aeration is also created. About 10 to 15 tons of FYM or farmyard manure or compost should be added to the soil at least 4 to 6 weeks prior to sowing, as it takes time to further decompose and properly mix with the soil. Fertilizers are added to supplement the nutrient shortfall in the soil. As organic manures do not provide the required amount of nutrients, additional application of fertilizer is required. The recommended dose of fertilizer is about 80 to 100 kg nitrogen, 50 to 70 kg phosphorus, and 30 to 40 kg potash per hectare, depending on the type of wheat. Nitrogen is applied in splits, that is 2/3 or half of it is applied at the sowing time, and the remaining 1/3 or half is top dressed at the first irrigation. Phosphorus and potash are applied at the time of sowing in full dose, as the nutrients are less mobile and takes more time to dissociate and delayed availability to the crop. Let's have a look on seed sowing. Sowing time of the crop. The sowing time ranges from November to December, though the optimum time is November. Seed rate. Seed rate depends on the variety, soil moisture status, sowing method, tillering ability of the crop, time of sowing, etc. The seed rate for different situations ranges between 25 to 30 kg per hectare in seed dibbling method to 155 kg per hectare in late sowing by seed drill method. Seed treatment. Wheat seed should be treated with fungicides like Agronomy, Thiram or Vitavex at the rate of 2.5 gram per kg seed before sowing to protect the seed from associated diseases. Sowing method. There are different types of sowing method in wheat which are practiced by the farmers as per their convenience. Broadcasting, seed drill and dibbling method are the various methods of sowing in wheat. Bidirectional sowing, that is second direction sowing cutting across the first sowing direction at right angles, gives yield advantage. Sowing behind plow and seed drill are preferred by most of the Indian farmers as they give satisfactory germination and plant stand. Now we have a look on sowing depth and spacing. Depending on the variety and time of sowing, the wheat seeds should be sown at a depth of 4 to 6 cm below the soil. Seeds are sown at a row spacing of 22.5 cm under normal sowing and 15 to 18 cm under delayed sowing. If sown late, the spacing is made closer. Let's go to water management or irrigation of the crop. As wheat is a water-loving crop, irrigation is given at most critical stages of the wheat crop. The critical stages of wheat are crown root initiation stage, that is 25 days to 30 days after sowing. Tillering stage, that is 45 days after sowing. Jointing stage, that is about 65 days after sowing. Booting stage, which comes at about 75 days after sowing. Flowering stage, which comes about 85 days after sowing. Milk stage, that comes at about 90 to 110 days after sowing. If farmers afford to give one irrigation only, it should be at CRI stage. If there is 2 irrigations available, it should be at CRI and booting stage. If 3 irrigations, it should be at CRI stage, tillering stage and booting stage. And if 4 irrigations are available with the farmers, it should be given at CRI stage, tillering stage, booting stage and milking stage. And if 5 irrigations are affordable by the farmers, it should be at CRI stage, tillering stage, jointing stage, flowering and milk stages. The schedule of irrigation may be altered depending on the rainfall. Weed management. Weed management is one of the most important factors in crop husbandry or cultural practices. As weeds are the biggest threat to the crops, they should be managed in such a way that they do not rob the nutrient, the light, the water meant for the crop. The common weeds in wheat are grassy weeds, broadleaf weeds, and perennial weeds. Among the weeds, Phalaris minor or canary grass is the most dreaded weed in most of the wheat growing belt of the country, which is morphologically similar to wheat crop. To combat broadleaf wheat growths, pre-emergence application of pendimethalin, commercially available in the name of Storm 35% EC, is applied at 0.75 to 1 kg AI per hectare just after sowing, followed by hand weeding at 25 to 30 days. While for perennial weeds and grassy weeds, post-emergence application of 2,4-D ester, Bladex C 34% EC at the rate of 1.4 liter per hectare in 800 to 1000 liter water, or isoproteron or isogard at the rate of 0.75 kg AI per hectare in 800 to 1000 liter water at 30 to 35 days after sowing, followed by one hand weeding, would be a suitable integrated weed management system in wheat. A good crop husbandry is required for avoiding weeds as a cultural weed control method. Let's have a discussion on insect pests and disease management. Wheat is attacked by a number of insect pests, namely termites, aphids, zascids, rodents, etc. To prevent the crop from termites, treat the seed with Aldrin 30 at the rate of 4 ml per kg seed, or broadcast 25 kg Aldrin per hectare into the soil and mix properly. Avoid BHE for seed treatment as it affects seed germination. Apply Temic 10G at the rate of 10 kg per hectare to control nematode infection. To control sucking insects, that is aphids, zascids, brown mites, etc., apply 0.5 liter thiodon or 1 liter Ecalux in 800 liters of water in 1 hectare. To control armyworm, apply carbaryl, that is commercially available as 750 WP at the rate of 2.5 kg in 800 liter water in 1 hectare. Rodents are controlled by mechanical traps or rodenticides like ratafin, warfarin as a bait. Wheat suffers from several diseases including rust, alternaria leaf blight, powdery mildew, loose mud, and kernel burnt. For diseases, precautionary measures are more important than control measures. The following measures are to be taken up before sowing. Grow resistant varieties as far as possible. Treat the seed before sowing with any fungicide, that is Serasan, Vitavex or Agronomy, etc. If the disease still appears, spray 0.2% Zinep, Dithin M45 or Bordex mixture. Keep the field clean, that is field sanitation, as many of the diseases are soil-borne and superficial diseases. Timely sowing of the crop is mandatory to escape from the insect pest diseases. Now let's come to the harvesting methods. Wheat is harvested when the grain becomes hard and the straw becomes dry and brittle. The harvesting time depends upon the time of sowing, variety used, and the agroclimatic zones of the country. The crop is harvested before it is dead ripe to avoid yield loss. If it is not harvested in time, grain may be lost or damaged by field rats, birds, insects, and through shattering and lodging. The right time to harvest the crop is when the moisture content in grain is about 20 to 25%. Harvesting is usually done by serrated sickle by hand or bullock-driven reapers or machine-driven reapers. Combine harvester, that is cutting, threshing, winnowing at the same time, are also employed. Threshing. Threshing is the last cultural practice or the field operation for wheat crop. Threshing of wheat is done after drying the harvested crop for 3 to 4 days on the threshing floor. Threshing is done by trampling with bullock feet or by power-driven thresher. This is used to save time and labor, which also has a better output. After threshing, the grains are cleaned and properly dried for storage in a gunny bag or other suitable materials. Storage of the grains. The grains should be stored in a well-constructed storage bin with well-aerated structure to avoid damply situations. Insect pests and diseases are encouraged under such dampy conditions. Storage structures with aluminum or tin roofs are preferable as the heat accumulated help in further drying of the stored grains. Storing the grains should be done after proper drying by maintaining the seed moisture at about 12 to 14%. Fungal and insect pest attacks are common if not properly dried. Let's have a look on the yield potential of this crop. A high-yielding variety of wheat under proper package of practice would give a grain yield of about 45 to 55 quintal per hectare under irrigated condition and 20 to 25 quintal per hectare under rain-fed condition has been reported at different places of the country. However, the national average yield of wheat under irrigated condition is about only 12 to 13 quintal per hectare, and that of rain-fed situation is much lower. Let's come to the conclusion part of this study. Wheat being an important Rabi cereal in India and the world, proper cultural practices and other crop managements need to be given priority. Wheat production and productivity can be enhanced with the use of improved package of practice or cultural operations. Due to the climate change, wheat ecosystem has also changed. The production and yield depends on management part as abiotic factors cannot be controlled. Systematic management of soils, scientific sowing methods, adjustment of sowing time, introduction of IPM, that is integrated pest management, IWM, that is integrated weed management, INM, that is integrated nutrient management, needs to be adopted at farmers' field. Irrigation system needs priority in view of the changing global temperature and erratic rainfall pattern in the country. Modernized harvesting and threshing machineries have to replace the less cost-effective human labor system in the wheat cultivation. Careful variety selection, most remunerative cropping system have to be chosen to achieve sustainable wheat production with optimum productivity and resource conservation at the same time.